everyone. Thank you so much for watching. This is Provost Park Pass and I'm Amanda, and today we're going to be talking about the top 10 things guests do at Disney parks that cast members absolutely hate. Okay, so this is a completely different video from what we usually do. We have secrets revealed and deep dives of different theme parks and travel destinations from around the world. So if you're new here, be sure to click the subscribe button, but this is going to be quite a juicy video where I have pulled cast members to see what are guests doing at Disney parks that are just driving cast members absolutely crazy. Cast members working hard, tirelessly day after day to bring us that Disney magic. The results were truly fascinating. Some of these results I actually laughed out loud. They were so freaking funny, but then some of these results actually made me really sad. So I was like, okay, I have to make a YouTube video about this. We have to talk about this on YouTube of things that we just should not be doing as guests. Now, before we get started, it is okay if you are guilty of doing these things. So I have actually been on both sides. So I used to work at a theme park and I dealt with guests every single day and I actually loved my job. But many of the things that the cast members were talking about, I totally related with because I've been in their shoes as well when I worked at a theme park. And then I have the other side of being a guest. You know, I am now a guest when I go to Disneyland. And so don't feel bad with any of these unless you're deliberately doing it, unless you're deliberately trying to be mean or deliberately trying to break the rules. But not many people would fall under that category of being like mean to be mean on purpose or break rules to like break rules on purpose, right? And so again, if you're guilty of doing these things, it's okay. Take a deep breath. There are things on this list I am personally guilty of doing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do a better job when I'm a guest at Disneyland. Oh, now I want this to be an interactive discussion, right? If you're like, oh my gosh, I'm totally guilty of doing this, I'm going to try harder. You can let me know in the comments below. Or if you're like, okay, that one, I totally get the cast members' perspective here. We definitely have to do better as guests of this one. I mean, anything that you guys want to contribute or respond to in the comments below, definitely do that. Just keep things civil and kind. This video is not to come across attacking any guests, but it's just something to really think about and consider when we're guests going to Disneyland. The number 10 thing is asking a question to a cast member, but not stopping to hear the answer. It's funny because I can actually picture this. I can picture it, right? You're just cruising down Main Street. You're trying to make it to, Peter Pan's flight, and you've got kids in the stroller and your wife is screaming for coffee, and you're just like, wow, like to a cast member, like, where's Peter Pan? And you're just walking by and they're trying to answer for you as you keep going. I can totally picture this. Maybe we can take a deep breath, like, I just asked a question to a human being. I'm going to wait for the answer so the cast member doesn't have to scream or yell at me as I keep walking by. Because, I mean, that wouldn't be very fun to be asked a question, but then the person just keeps walking by and you're like, oh, wait, I have your answer. Wait, come back. Just not a good human interaction. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Some of the answers that I got about walking away after you asked a question, this response said, ask a question, then walk away as we're answering. It really is no fun when you're having a conversation with someone and then they just walk away and you're like, bye, good talk, thanks. Hope that helped. It's just so awkward. So if you ask a question, wait until they're done talking and then you can continue on with your Disney day. Now for the number 9 thing guests are doing at the parks that the cast members wish they wouldn't is not respecting ropes and boundaries. You guys, this came up a lot. I saw a lot of responses that said things like, the ropes and the boundaries are there for a reason. If you see something roped off, don't go under it. Don't do it. Now, in this day and age, it really adds another layer to it because I saw a lot of responses that said that people are doing things at Disneyland like going places that they're not supposed to, going under the ropes, going into restricted areas to get the views and the clicks. And that's something that's new to our society, right? There's a lot of social media accounts out there and they want to get those views and they want to get those clicks. And to do that, they're going to try to do something extreme because that's what gets the views, right? Now, when I go to Disneyland, I am terrified of doing something wrong. My worst case scenario is to be banned at Disneyland. Disneyland. Like, I want to be so respectful, but I do know there are some social media people out there that don't care about that. They just want to get the views and they want to get the clicks, and doing something shocking or doing something that's not allowed, unfortunately, that is going to get views and that is going to get clicks. And a lot of responses that I saw from cast members more and more are people trying to do things at the park and they're being recorded doing it. And it's just a huge no-no. Those ropes and those boundaries are there for a reason. They're there to keep you and the cast members and everyone else safe at Disneyland, so everyone can have a fun, enjoyable, safe, happy time. Now I'll read some more responses about the ropes and the boundaries at Disneyland. This one said climbing over the ropes to enter the line. This one said not respecting the ropes and boundaries. This one said sitting on the ropes. This one said being in an area they're not supposed to for clicks. I saw that a lot. This one said line cutting. I mean, there were a lot of responses. So when we're at Disneyland, respect the boundaries and respect the ropes. They're there for a reason. Now let's talk about the number 8 thing that guests are doing at the parks that are really actually hurting the cast members. So this is one that I definitely want to talk about because I can see how upsetting it can be, but I definitely want to talk about this because it is not the cast members' fault and they get a lot of the heat. So the number 8 thing that the guests are doing to the cast members is being rude and angry to the cast members when a ride has shut down. Now, I totally get it. It is so hard. If there's an attraction that you really, really want to ride and you get up there and you're so excited for it and it's closed and you're like, oh my gosh. And the cast members, when an attraction is closed, the cast members come out to the front of the queue so they can stop you from entering the queue and they can let you know, oh, the attraction is down right now. And then usually people will ask, oh, well, when will it be reopened? And sometimes they have an idea, but other times they really don't know. They're just there to help you and kind of direct you with your day and to let you know the ride is closed so you don't walk through the entire line and then just not be able to enter in, right? They're just doing their job. The cast members are not there at Disneyland just like, how are we going to make their day miserable? Let's close down this attraction. They're not doing that. I mean, it's hard for them to just be standing there and getting tons and tons of guests coming up to them upset or angry that the attraction is closed. It's not their fault that an attraction closes down. So my favorite attraction at Disneyland is Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Forbidden Eye. And this attraction closes frequently. Like, it shuts down all the time. It's a very complex ride. I mean, the Jeeps themselves are computers and it's so finicky, like so many things will close it down, right? And I get it. I go up to Indiana Jones and I want to ride it and I see that it's closed. It's like, oh, it's upsetting. You have every right to be upset. You've paid a lot of money to be at Disneyland. You have made a ton of arrangements to be at Disneyland. You've done a lot of time and energy and effort and money to be at this theme park. You want to have a good time. And if an attraction is closed, that's going to be upset. That's going to be upsetting. And you have every right to be upset. But a response that I saw frequently with the cast members are when guests are taking out their anger on them. If you are upset, which you have a right to be upset, it's upsetting if you can't ride. Take a deep breath. Tell the cast members like, oh, thank you so much for letting me know. Take a deep breath, walk away. They're just there trying to do their job and create a magical experience for everyone, regardless of the situations that they're thrown into, like a closed attraction. So for example, this response said, when guests get mad at us for the ride shutting down, but we can't control that. This response said, rudeness because an attraction breaks down. And this response said, what do you mean that this attraction is closed? It's the only reason we came. Totally, again, I get it. Let's say it's Rise of the Resistance. That is one of the reasons why people go to Disneyland. If a ton of the rides have been closed and you've just really had a terrible experience at Disneyland, I recommend taking some deep breaths, going to town hall and then meeting with a guest service member. Again, not taking anger out on them. It is not the guest service's fault that many attractions were closed at Disneyland, but you can just share your thoughts and opinions about the day. This was just our experience and blah, blah, blah. And you can just give your feedback or even some constructive criticism of the park without taking your anger and your frustrations out on that particular cast member. There are definitely ways to express frustration instructions and things like that that aren't just rudely directed at the cast member station to work at that attraction. All right, now let's lighten it up a little bit. I just think this answer is cute. So let's talk about the number 7 thing that guests do that cast members wish they wouldn't. The number 7 thing that guests are doing are asking cast members for the wait time for attraction when the wait time is listed right in front of them. And I just think this is adorable because I think I'm guilty of this as well, where I'm like, oh, okay, how long is the wait? And the cast member's right there and they're like, oh, it's 30 minutes. And then you look up and you see the sign and it says a 30-minute wait time. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm such an airhead. But thankfully, there are wait times listed at each attraction, or you can even check the app to see how long the wait time is. This one is super cute. I like this response. I like this answer because it's not us guests being deliberately rude or deliberately angry or taking out anything on the cast members. It's just one of those cute airheaded moments when it's like, oh yeah, it's a 15-minute wait. I see that right there. Sorry about that. We've all done it. We're all guilty of it. Been there, done that. This one says, ask for what the wait time is when it's literally right in front of them. This one says, ask for the wait time when it's right there. This one says, asks for the wait time, and when they hear it's over an hour, they don't want to wait. They ask if they can go through the fast pass lane. No, you can't do that. Time to talk about the number 6 thing that guests are doing at the parks that the cast members can't stand. Number 6 is not listening. Okay, this is huge. There are so many different cast members at Disneyland, and they have so many different things that they have to do. But when the guests aren't listening, that can make their job a million times harder. And they're telling guests to do things for a reason. They're not just trying to boss people around. There's a reason of why they're telling us the things that they're telling us. So some responses I got is if someone's sitting on a railing and they ask them to get down and they don't listen. Another is when they're directing traffic. I mean, there are a lot of people visiting Disneyland and there are a lot of traffic jams, like during the parade or fireworks. They're telling you which direction to go and how to go for a reason, so everyone doesn't just get like bottled up in one big human clump. I mean, they're trying to tell you where to go for a reason. So this response was really interesting, and this has to do with guest safety, but not listening. If they say no further boarding, do not board. This response talked about listening when around the characters. That's super important too, because it's not only just for your safety and enjoyment, but for the character safety as well. This one said not listening when in line for attractions, like when the cast members ask for a party size. And there are so many things that the cast members might need to tell us throughout our experience at Disneyland, and we definitely have to be paying attention and following their guidelines and directions. The number 5 thing that guests are doing that cast members hate is staying super, super late, way past closing time. All right, so I get it. We all go to Disneyland and most of us want to just squeeze every possible moment out of our Disneyland experience, right? It's like, okay, we spent a lot of money to be there. It was a lot of effort being here, and we want to just take advantage of every last drop of Disneyland we can get. I totally get it. But there are ways to be respectful with our time at Disneyland. And a response that I saw a ton was about this deliberately staying very late to get that perfect picture on Main Street where, like, you know, no one's in your shot, no one's in your photo, things like that. Now, there are lots of things nowadays that you can do to get that perfect picture at Disneyland without people in your photos. There's a lot of awesome, easy to use, like photo editing things, photo editing apps on your phone where you can remove people in your background. That way you don't have to stay super late waiting for everyone to exit so you get those perfect shots, because the cast members are human. They had a long shift. They had long days at Disneyland, and they're probably ready to go home and go to bed. So just keep that in mind when Disneyland is closing for the day. You can definitely stay late at Disneyland. You can definitely do that late night shopping on Main Street. I mean, stay and enjoy it and squeeze every last drop out of it. But also be aware that, you know, cast members are ready to go home, and you can be respectful and check your time and be like, okay, like now at this point, I'm really pushing it. Like I stayed past closing. I had my Disney day, but at this point, like, yeah, I need to go home. Just be aware of your surroundings and be aware of the time at Disneyland when it's closing and when it's way past closing time. That way, everyone is happy when it's after dark. The number 4 reason that I saw that guests are doing that is really hurting the cast members is complaining about prices. I get it. Disneyland is so expensive and they keep increasing the prices and they're going to keep increasing the prices. This is not the cast members' fault. If you're really having a hard time with your experience at Disneyland, again, you are able to go to guest services and kind of give your feedback and give your constructive criticism, but just keep in mind, that's just a cast member there doing their job. They're not the one creating the prices. But I saw that a lot. I get it, right? Like I have had so much sticker shock with so many things at Disneyland where I'm like, whoa, I cannot believe they're charging this amount for it. But you just have to kind of take a deep breath, bring yourself back down and be like, this is not the cast member's fault. There's nothing that they can do about it. Like I can complain as much as I want about the price tag of something, but the cast members can't do anything about it. They can't just be like, oh yeah, I understand it's expensive and here's a discount. They can't do that. And so there's really no reason to complain to the cast members about it because they're not setting the price tags and setting the prices is not their job. Now let's talk about a simpler thing. Now, I don't want any of you guys to feel bad as we're going through this list. If you are doing your best at Disneyland and maybe you have an off day or you do something that you regret, it's okay, right? We've all been there. So if you are guilty of any of these things, we can keep it lighthearted and fun. You can let me know in the comments below and be like, oh my gosh, I totally did that. And it's okay. Like we can all understand each other together, right? So this video is not to make anyone feel bad or make anyone feel awful, but just a way so we can all have a great, enjoyable time at Disneyland. So now just for one that's a little bit lighter, a little bit easier, and that brings us to number 3. Number 3 thing that guests are doing at Disneyland that the cast members wish they wouldn't do is running. Simple enough, right? We've all done it. We've all been there. We're all at rope drop and you're just like, oh my gosh, I have to rope drop Rise of the Resistance. I have to get on this ride. And the ropes drop and hear the announcement and you're just like so excited and there's so much energy going through you. And then the ropes drop and the crowd just bursts. I mean, everyone runs. And it's so funny. I shouldn't laugh because I mean, everyone's safety is at stake here, right? But it really is like the energy. You could just like bottle up the energy and power a small city. It's just so much. And people just can't help themselves. Like I was at Animal Kingdom a while ago and I was like, I'm not running. I am not going to run to Flight of Passage. I'm not doing it, right? And so I'm power walking as like fast as my legs can power walk. But then I'm seeing people power walk faster than I am. So then I start to get stressed out. So then I power walk faster and then they look at me and they start to get stressed out. And so they start to like do a light jog. And then I'm like, oh, I'm not running. I'm not going to do it. But I'm like almost to that light jog. And then they get stressed. And then so they start running, like full on running. And at that point, it's just like pandemonium because the cast members then have to, tell people as they go by, like, no running, no running, no running. And we all know no running, but sometimes we just can't even help ourselves. And the poor cast members have to tell us. They don't want to be telling us no running. I mean, it's just like we're a bunch of like, toddlers or like a bunch of kittens just like let loose. And it's just so funny, but I get it. I get the energy. I totally get that feeling of wanting to get to an attraction first. Like this is something that I am definitely guilty about, but I have to make a conscious effort to be like, okay, I am not going to run because I do not want the cast members to tell me not to run because then I feel bad and they feel bad. And it's just a terrible way to start your Disney day is feeling bad. So walk, don't run to the attractions. So this response said running to get on an attraction at rope drop. Rope drop is really where I feel like this happens the most. I have seen runners when an attraction has been down for a while. So like if Rise of the Resistance, of course, the most popular attraction, if it's been down, if it's been closed, and then people start to see on the app that it's open, they want to book it there as fast as they can because A, they don't want to wait in line. B, they know so many people are going to be doing the same thing. And C, they probably don't want to pay to skip the lines for that attraction for the individual lightning lane. And so they're going to run because if a ride has been closed for a while and then it reopens, a lot of times the wait time for that ride can get so long because they have to get everyone through that is paid for that attraction. So if it's an attraction that has a Genie Plus like a lightning lane, the cast members are letting them through a lot more because they paid for it, right? They paid to skip the line. And then everyone that's been, just generally wanting to ride that ride, they haven't been able to. So then they're all getting in line. So that is another time that I see people run, is when a ride just opens up. Now let's talk about the number 2 thing that guests are doing at the parks that cast members hate. This one, I am totally on the cast member side. I completely agree with this one, and it is not cleaning up your trash or not disposing of it properly. I totally get that one. When we are at Disneyland, if we don't clean up our trash or if we don't dispose of it properly, someone else has to. And we do not want to create any more work for the custodial staff at Disneyland than they already have to, because the custodians at Disneyland are so amazing. They're so fantastic. And there's a lot of trash and there's a lot of waste that goes into Disneyland. I mean, people love the food. Like, you're eating your food and there's a lot of wrappers and there's a lot of cups and a lot of straws and all of this stuff. And I saw a lot of responses that were like, hey, don't throw your trash into the gardens. Like, if the trash goes into the bushes, someone has to clean that up. And I just think of it like, that is a human being. I do not want a human being to have to dig through the bushes and clean up my trash because I didn't take a few extra steps and throw it in the trash can. Walt Disney wanted trash cans everywhere, and there are trash cans everywhere at Disneyland. That's something simple that we totally can do as guests to help make the cast members' lives a little easier. Another response I saw is not throwing trash into a bin if a cast member is literally switching out that bin. That's another thing. Like, if you were that person switching out that bin, and if someone's throwing their trash at you, I mean, that's pretty terrible. Like, the trash splashing on that person or getting on that person or just messing up their rotation of the bins. Like, no. If a cast member is working on a trash can, definitely move to a different bin. Also, we want the parks clean for ourselves, right? We want our children to have a clean place to enjoy Disneyland. We want a clean place to enjoy Disneyland. And so this one totally makes sense to me, is throw the trash away. Don't leave it on the floor. Don't put it on the bushes. Just clean it up. Put it away where it belongs. This response said throwing trash in bushes, which is not something that I knew people did, but it apparently happened. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm guilty of that, then definitely make it to the trash cans next time. And this one said sticking gum on things. Disneyland actually does not sell gum on property. So you have to really make an effort to do this one. You have to bring in your gum. You have to be chewing on your gum and then stick it somewhere. Don't do it. Throw it in the trash can, or even worst case scenario, if you can't see a trash can, I would rather people swallow their gums than like stick it on a railing that a cast member has to scrape off, or that I actually like put my hand on the gum, or like under the table, or, you know, anywhere else at Disneyland. Gum does not belong at Disneyland. And this one says, I can't stand when I'm changing the trash and guests throw their trash into the bin when they see me changing the bin. Yes, like, you might be super close to that trash bin, but if someone's there, it's like, go to the next trash bin. Definitely. Now for some honorable mentions that I saw, and this one just made me laugh out loud. I actually laughed out loud when I read it. This honorable mention is taking your shirt off. I can't even say it. It's so funny. This one says taking your shirt off before riding Splash Mountain. Sorry. No, don't do it. Don't take off your clothes before you ride Grizzly River Run. Keep your clothes on. That one just made me laugh out loud. Visualizing people like taking off their shoes or taking off their socks or taking off their shirts or their pants. Just keep your clothes on for the water rides. An honorable mention that I saw a few times is controlling your children. This I totally get. I mean, kids can be completely out of control. They're all hyped up on sugar at Disneyland. They see Mickey Mouse and it's just like chaos out of control. And sometimes kids honestly just like can't be controlled. Like, they are just out of control. It's at Disneyland, right? But I did see that one a lot, especially when it had to do with character meet and greets. Definitely something for everyone's safety. It's a safety thing. Everyone wants to have a great time at Disneyland. The children need to have a great time at Disneyland, but there are some rules in place and there are some boundaries in place, especially with character meet and greets, to keep everyone happy and healthy and safe. Totally get it. This honorable mention said climbing on trees. Yes. And this one made me laugh. And I was like, sometimes we really can't like totally control this one. But this response just said, bad breath. Gosh. Oh, this is funny to me. I don't even know what to say about that one. Gum is not sold at Disneyland, but They do have, but maybe I guess bring in some breath mints. I mean, there are a lot of foods at Disneyland. Like my beloved vegetable skewer at Bengal Barbecue is so delicious, but it is so strong. I suck on breath mints for the rest of my day at Disneyland if I have that vegetable skewer. So definitely pack some breath mints. I mean, if you're having onions or I don't know, maybe something really spicy or like a pickle, I feel like would give you really bad breath, but guess if you're going to be talking to a cast member really up close, like pop a breath mint for these poor cast members. And now for the number one thing that I saw that guests do to cast members that cast members wish they wouldn't do. The number one response that I got was so cute and it was so funny. So everyone take a deep breath of relief. This one is just cute and so funny. The number one response that I saw is, what time does the 3 p.m. parade start? Oh my gosh, it's just so adorable because I get it. Like I totally get going to Disneyland. You're just frazzled. Your brain is frazzled. You're exhausted. You're tired. You've been on a bunch of attractions. You've eaten a bunch of food. You've walked 10,000 steps. And the last thing your brain needs to compute is time. And you read on your app that it's a 3 p.m. parade, but then you just find yourself asking a cast member, what time does the 3 p.m. parade start? It was cute because I found so many responses like that of saying like, what time does the 5 p.m. parade start? What time are the 9 p.m. fireworks? What time is the 3 p.m. parade? Like, it's just so cute and it's so adorable and it's so funny. We do it as guests and the cast members have to put up with it as guests. Thank you so much for watching and spending your time with me. This was just a really interesting, kind of juicy video that I really wanted to do and talk about the guest experience and also the cast member experience at Disneyland so all of us can have a better, healthier, happier time at the happiest place on earth. Now, before I let you go, just be sure that that subscribe button is clicked and the like button is clicked. That way you don't miss a video of ours so we can keep providing you more theme park content from around the world. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Just keep them, as civil as can be, right? And if you have a video request that you would like me to do, let me know that in the comments below too, because I would love to create a video for you personally. I love that you took the time to spend this time with me during this video, and I hope that you enjoyed it. But have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you soon at Disneyland. Bye, you guys.